Sometimes you come across a story and it just like totally shifts your whole perspective.
Yeah.
And I think today we're going to be diving into one of those stories.
Okay.
We're going to be taking a deep dive into the life and the philosophy of Helen Keller.
Yeah.
And trust me, this is not your typical inspirational figure.
Mm-hmm.
This is a deep dive, so get ready for some serious aha moments.
Oh, okay.
I think we all know the basics when it comes to Helen Keller, right?
Sure.
Deaf and blind, overcame incredible odds.
Yeah.
But she didn't just survive. She thrived.
Right.
Author, activist, college graduate.
Incredible.
The list goes on, but what I think is so captivating about Helen Keller is her perspective on happiness.
Yeah. I agree.
It's one thing to be like preaching happiness from a mountaintop,
Right.
but it's another thing entirely to discover happiness
Mm-hmm.
in the midst of some of life's most formidable challenges.
Yeah.
And that is exactly what Helen Keller did. So what stands out to you about her journey?
Well, it's interesting because I think what fascinates me most about Helen Keller's story is that it really flicks the script on how we typically understand happiness.
Okay.
You would think that somebody facing such extreme challenges would maybe dwell on what was missing. But Keller's life really teaches us that happiness is not about the absence of hardships.
Oh,
It's about the growth and the strength that we gain by facing and conquering them.
I like that.
And I think that's why her insights into happiness are so hard-earned and they're incredibly powerful, precisely because her life was anything but easy.
Absolutely. So for people who might need a little bit of a refresher, can you give us a glimpse into Helen Keller's life?
Sure.
Just the highlights that sort of illuminate her path to happiness.
Okay. So Helen Keller was born in 1880 in Alabama. And at just 19 months old, she contracted an illness, possibly scarlet fever or meningitis, that left her deaf and blind.
Wow.
So imagine for a moment the isolation, the inability to experience the world the way most of us do. Her early years were understandably full of frustration, and just difficulty. But then came Anne Sullivan,
Oh, Anne Sullivan.
her teacher.
Yeah.
And, Sullivan truly was a miracle worker,
Yeah.
teaching Helen how to communicate using the manual alphabet, spelling words into her hand. And this opened up a whole new world for Helen, a world she embraced with relentless determination.
It's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's almost impossible to grasp, the sheer will it must have taken to navigate the world without sight and sound.
It's a testament to the resilience of the human spirit.
Yeah.
And that resilience fueled her extraordinary achievements.
Right.
I mean, she went on to graduate from Radcliffe College,
Wow.
the first deaf-blind person to earn a Bachelor of Arts degree.
That's incredible.
So, this isn't just about overcoming hardship. This
Uh-huh.
is about thriving in the face of it.
Yeah.
And I think it sets the stage for the crucial question: how did she define happiness?
Exactly.
What was her secret?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because you'd think that someone in her situation might define happiness as the absence of those hardships.
Yeah, you'd think.
Right.
Right.
But it seems like Keller found happiness within those very challenges.
Mm-hmm.
So how did she do it?
Well, she really firmly believed that happiness wasn't this external prize that you chased, like wealth or possessions.
Right.
It was an internal state,
Okay.
a byproduct of how you choose to approach life.
Interesting.
And she had 3 core beliefs that really drove this point home.
Okay, now we're getting to the good stuff.
Yeah.
Tell me more about these core beliefs.
Okay.
What was the first one?
So the first belief was that happiness is a byproduct of overcoming challenges.
Okay.
So she didn't shy away from difficulty. She embraced it. And she even said, and this quote always resonates with me, "Character cannot be developed in ease and quiet. Only through experience of trial and suffering can the soul be strengthened, ambition inspired, and success achieved."
Wow.
Yeah,
That's a powerful statement.
it is.
When you hear that, you might be thinking, wait, does that mean I need to go looking for trouble to be happy?
Oh, right.
But it's not about actively seeking out hardship, is it?
No, not at all.
It's about recognizing that challenges are an inevitable part of life.
Right.
And instead of fearing them or trying to avoid them,
Right.
we can choose to see them as opportunities for growth,
Exactly.
for building resilience and character.
Yeah.
Right.
Think about it. When you push yourself beyond your comfort zone,
Yeah.
whether it's tackling a difficult project or facing a fear,
Mm-hmm.
there's a sense of accomplishment there,
Right.
of pushing past those perceived limitations.
You kind of feel good,
Yeah.
you did something.
And that's the kind of happiness that Keller was talking about.
Okay.
It's that deep satisfaction that comes from knowing you didn't back down, that
Yeah.
you rose to the occasion.
So for Keller, happiness wasn't about avoiding hardship. It was about the growth and the strength we gain by facing and conquering those hardships.
Exactly.
So building on this idea then, what was her second core belief?
Her second big idea was the importance of purpose and service.
Okay.
And she wasn't just saying helping others is nice.
Right.
She genuinely believed that living a life dedicated to something larger than yourself, to serving others, brought genuine fulfillment.
Yeah.
And she directly linked that fulfillment to happiness.
This resonates with me.
Yeah.
Think about a time when you helped someone in need. Didn't it leave you with a sense of purpose?
Absolutely.
A feeling that your actions had meaning beyond your own, immediate world?
Exactly. When we focus outwards on helping others, it pulls us out of our own heads, away from our self-doubt and our anxieties. And in that outward focus, we often discover a deeper sense of purpose and connection,
Yeah.
which, as Keller believed, are essential ingredients for happiness.
So we've got overcoming challenges and living a life of purpose.
Yeah.
Two pretty powerful concepts.
Absolutely.
What was the third piece of the happiness puzzle?
Well, this is where Keller's story becomes truly inspiring.
Okay.
Despite all that she couldn't experience, she found immense joy in the simplest things. Nature, the feeling of sunshine on her face, the joy of learning, the warmth of friendships.
It's almost paradoxical, isn't it?
It is.
Here's someone who couldn't experience the world in the way that most of us do.
Right.
Yet she found so much joy in these simple, experiences that we often take for granted.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder, why did these things matter so much to her?
I think it boils down to gratitude.
Okay.
Keller couldn't take anything for granted.
Right.
She had to actively cultivate a sense of appreciation for every small blessing.
Right.
And that, I believe, is a crucial takeaway for all of us. Okay.
Gratitude isn't just a feeling. It's a skill we can develop.
Yeah.
And it has a profound impact on our happiness.
It's like she found abundance in what many would consider scarcity.
Right.
It's a powerful reminder that happiness isn't about what we have. It's about how we choose to see and appreciate what we do have.
Exactly.
Now, this is all incredibly inspiring, but I'm sure our listeners, like me, are thinking, okay, how do I actually apply this to my life?
Right. Right.
You mentioned that you had some notes on Keller's, more practical suggestions. All right, how do we actually take action?
She actually outlined 5 tangible steps we can all take to cultivate this kind of deep, lasting happiness.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Let's dive into those.
All right.
Give us action item number 1.
Okay, so the first one builds directly on what we were just talking about.
Yeah.
Embrace challenges as opportunities for growth.
Okay.
But it's more than just a mindset, right? It's about action.
Okay.
So think about how Keller lived this.
She didn't just endure challenges. She actively sought them out.
Wow.
Learning to speak, write, go to college. These were all monumental undertakings for someone in her position.
Right.
But she saw them as chances to expand her world, to become more than what people thought she could be.
So the lesson here isn't just to grin and bear it when things get tough.
No.
It's about actively seeking out opportunities to push ourselves beyond our comfort zones.
Right.
Knowing that that's where the real growth and ultimately happiness happens.
Precisely. It's about reframing our perspective on difficulty.
Okay.
Instead of seeing challenges as setbacks,
Right.
we can choose to see them as stepping stones on the path to a richer, more fulfilling life.
I love that. So step 1 is about flipping the script on how we view challenges.
Exactly.
What's the next action step on Keller's list?
Okay, so the second step focuses on Keller's belief in the power of purpose and service.
Okay.
She found immense joy in advocating for others, in
Yes.
using her experiences to make the world a better place. And this wasn't just a side hobby for her.
Right.
This was fundamental to her happiness.
Yeah, it's like that old saying, the best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others.
Yeah.
But Keller, she truly embodied this idea. She didn't just talk about it, she lived it.
Absolutely. And think about how relevant this is today.
Yeah.
In a world where so many people feel isolated and disconnected, finding ways to contribute to something larger than ourselves,
Right.
whether it's volunteering, mentoring, or simply being there for someone in need,
Yeah.
can have a profound impact on our happiness.
It's almost counterintuitive, isn't it?
It is.
We're often told that happiness is about focusing on ourselves,
Right.
on our own needs and desires.
Yeah.
But Keller's experience suggests that true fulfillment comes from shifting that focus outward towards serving others.
Yeah, it's about recognizing that we're all interconnected,
Oh,
that our well-being is tied to the well-being of others. And when we act on that understanding, when we reach out and make a positive impact on someone else's life,
yeah.
it creates a ripple effect that ultimately benefits us as well.
Okay, so step 2 is all about getting out of our own heads
Mhm.
and focusing on how we can contribute to something bigger than ourselves.
Right.
What's the third action item on Keller's list?
This one might sound familiar, but it's incredibly powerful.
Okay.
Cultivate gratitude daily.
Okay.
Keller couldn't experience the world in the way most of us do.
Right.
So she had to train herself to appreciate every little thing. The feeling of the sun on her skin, the smell of rain, the sound of laughter.
Yeah.
These were all sources of joy for her.
You know, it's so easy to get caught up in the hustle and bustle of daily life
Mm-hmm.
that we forget to appreciate the simple things.
Right.
We become so focused on what we're striving for,
Yeah.
on what we lack,
Mm-hmm.
that we miss the beauty and the abundance that's already present in our lives.
That's precisely what Keller's experience highlights.
Right.
Gratitude is about shifting our focus from what we don't have to what we do have.
Okay.
And it's not just about feeling grateful. It's about actively expressing that gratitude.
Yeah.
Taking a few moments each day to acknowledge the good things in our lives, no matter how small, can have a significant impact on our overall well-being.
It's like training our minds to see the good,
Yeah,
to find the silver lining, even in challenging situations.
absolutely.
Okay, we've got 2 more steps to explore.
Okay.
What's next on Keller's list for cultivating lasting happiness?
This one is all about developing inner strength and a sense of self-worth.
Okay.
And this was crucial for Keller.
Mhm.
She faced so much prejudice and discrimination,
Right.
so many people who doubted her abilities,
Yeah.
but she refused to let their perceptions define her.
That's such a powerful example of resilience.
It is.
She could easily succumb to those negative messages,
Right.
but instead she chose to believe in herself,
Mm-hmm.
in her own inherent worth.
Exactly. And that's something we can all cultivate. It's
Yeah.
about recognizing our own strengths and accomplishments,
Mm-hmm.
about practicing self-compassion
Right.
and silencing that inner critic.
Yeah.
When we have a strong sense of self-worth,
Yeah.
we're less reliant on external validation
Okay.
and more resilient in the face of challenges.
It's about building that internal foundation of confidence and self-love.
Yeah,
And when that foundation is strong, nothing can truly shake us, right?
absolutely. When we believe in ourselves,
Yeah.
we're more likely to take risks, to pursue our dreams, and to bounce back from setbacks.
Right.
And that, in turn, fuels our sense of purpose and happiness.
I love that. It's about recognizing that true validation comes from within,
Mm-hmm.
not from external sources.
Exactly.
Okay, on to the final action step.
All right?
What did Keller emphasize as the 5th key to cultivating lasting happiness?
This one circles back to something we touched on earlier, appreciating life's simple joys. Keller found so much happiness in those everyday experiences that many of us rush through or take for granted.
Right.
A walk in nature, a good conversation, a quiet moment with a book.
Yeah.
These were all sources of joy for her.
It's like she had this heightened awareness of the beauty and wonder that exists all around us.
Yeah.
If we just slow down enough to notice it.
Right?
But in our fast-paced, always-on world,
Mm.
it's so easy to miss those moments.
Yeah.
To let them slip by unnoticed.
You're right. It takes a conscious effort.
Yeah.
But it's an effort worth making.
Mm.
It's about being fully present in our experiences.
Right.
About savoring the small moments that make up our days.
Yeah.
Instead of constantly chasing after some future happiness, we can choose to find joy in the ordinary, in the here and now.
Okay, so we've got these 5 actionable steps inspired by Helen Keller's life. Embrace challenges, find purpose in service, cultivate gratitude, develop inner strength, and appreciate life's simple joys.
Right.
It's not about finding a quick fix or a magic formula. It's about a fundamental shift in how we approach life. It's about cultivating those inner qualities and habits that pave the way for lasting happiness.
Exactly. And what's so striking is how relevant Keller's teachings are today.
Yeah.
We live in a world obsessed with comfort and convenience,
Right.
with instant gratification. But Keller's philosophy reminds us that true happiness is often found on the other side of struggle,
Okay.
in the process of overcoming obstacles and finding meaning in something larger than ourselves.
It's like she's offering us a roadmap,
Yeah.
a different path to happiness, one that's more sustainable and fulfilling than the fleeting pleasures that our culture often promotes.
Absolutely.
But it's one thing to hear about these ideas.
Right.
It's another to understand how they apply to our own lives.
Right.
So let's bring it back to you, the listener.
Okay.
Why should you care? How did these ideas from over a century ago apply to your life today?
That's a great question. I think one of the most powerful takeaways from Keller's story is that happiness isn't some destination we arrive at.
Right.
It's about how we navigate the journey.
Okay.
And that journey inevitably includes challenges, setbacks, and difficulties.
Yeah.
But Keller's life shows us that it's in those moments, in the struggle, that we discover our true strength, our resilience, and ultimately our happiness.
I love that. It's not about avoiding hardship or pretending like everything is always sunshine and roses.
Right.
It's about facing those challenges head on, knowing that they have the potential to make us stronger, wiser, and ultimately happier.
Exactly. And I think this is particularly relevant in today's world where we're constantly bombarded with messages that happiness is about acquiring more, achieving more, being more.
Yeah.
But Keller had so little materially speaking,
Right.
and yet she found so much joy.
Yeah.
That's a powerful lesson for all of us.
It's a reminder that happiness isn't about what we have.
Right.
It's about how we choose to see the world, how we choose to approach our experiences. And that's something we all have the power to change.
Absolutely. And I think that's where Keller's emphasis on gratitude comes in.
Yeah.
When we focus on what we're thankful for, even in the midst of difficulty, it shifts our perspective.
Right.
It allows us to see the good, to appreciate the small things, and to find joy even when things are tough.
It's like she's saying, don't wait for happiness to find you.
Yeah.
Create it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that's an incredibly empowering message.
It certainly is. So we've covered a lot of ground today exploring Helen Keller's remarkable life and her profound insights into happiness.
We have.
But before we wrap up, I want to leave you with one final thought.
Okay.
What's one thing from Helen Keller's story, one idea or a piece of advice that you'll take with you today? How will you apply her wisdom to your own life?
Right.
Take a moment to reflect on that.
Yep.
And we'll be right back to wrap things up and offer some final thoughts. I don't know about you, but this deep dive has really stuck with me.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that happiness isn't some destination, right?
Right.
It's not a finish line we cross.
Yeah.
It's about how we approach the journey itself,
Exactly.
with all its unexpected, like, twists and turns,
Yeah.
the highs and the lows.
I think what I find most inspiring about Keller is that she didn't simply endure her challenges.
Right.
She used them, you know?
Yeah.
She transformed them into fuel for growth.
Right.
She embraced that difficult path, knowing that it would ultimately lead her to a richer, more meaningful life.
It really challenges the narrative we're often sold, doesn't it?
It does.
Like that quick fix happiness.
Right.
Buy this, achieve that, and you'll finally be content.
Yeah.
Keller's approach is so much deeper, so much more sustainable,
Absolutely.
because it's rooted in this, like, inner transformation.
It's about cultivating that resilience within.
Yeah.
Finding purpose in something beyond ourselves. Recognizing the simple joys that are available to us every single day.
Yeah.
You know, it's a practice, not a purchase.
And gratitude, right?
Yeah.
Being thankful for what we have, even when things are tough.
Absolutely.
That seems to be a thread woven throughout Keller's entire story.
Keller's life is a testament to the power of gratitude. Despite all that she faced, she found so much beauty and joy in the world, and she reminds us that gratitude is a choice, a practice we can develop to shift our perspective and find happiness even when life throws us curveballs.
In a world that often emphasizes what we lack, we're missing,
Right.
Keller's story urges us to focus on what we already have,
Yeah.
to find the abundance in the present moment.
It's like she's saying, don't wait for happiness to come knocking.
Yeah.
Go out and create it.
And one of the most powerful ways to create that happiness, as we discussed, is through service to others.
Yes,
Keller's life truly exemplified this.
it did.
She found immense joy and fulfillment in using her experiences to help others, to leave the world a little bit better than she found it.
It's more than just a feel-good sentiment, you know? In a world where so many people feel disconnected and isolated, this message is more relevant than ever.
Right.
Finding ways to connect with others, to contribute to our communities, to make a difference. These are powerful antidotes to loneliness and despair.
So we've got resilience, gratitude, purpose, and connection.
Yeah.
These are the pillars of Helen Keller's philosophy of happiness.
They are.
And What strikes me is that these aren't just lofty ideas.
No?
They're practices,
Mm-hmm.
habits we can cultivate and strengthen in our own lives.
Exactly.
And the more we practice these habits, the more they become part of our very being,
Right.
shaping our outlook,
Yeah.
influencing our experience of the world.
Up.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into Helen Keller's wisdom,
Mhm.
I want to leave you with one of her quotes that truly encapsulates her message. The only thing worse than being blind is having sight but no vision.
Powerful words.
It's a reminder that true happiness isn't about what our physical eyes can see.
Right.
It's about having a vision for our lives,
Mm.
a sense of purpose that drives our actions and inspires us to make a difference.
It's about choosing to see the good, to find beauty and joy in the everyday, even amidst difficulty.
Yeah.
That's the legacy of Helen Keller, and it's a legacy we can all embrace.
So as you go about your day-to-day, remember her words,
Mm-hmm.
remember her example,
Yeah.
and choose to live a life brimming with purpose, gratitude, and joy.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into Helen Keller's Secrets to Happiness. We hope you found it as inspiring and insightful as we did. And remember, this is just the beginning. If you're interested in delving deeper into Helen Keller's life and work, there's a wealth of resources available online and in libraries. Keep exploring, keep learning, and keep choosing happiness.